Technological Prepper focuses on guiding you to sources of information and products that can be used for the sole purpose of surviving a man-made or natural post-apocalyptic event. Please take all information on this channel with a grain of salt. You should always do your own research and be open-minded when learning new preparedness skills and information on the latest news. Therefore, you are aware that any information or talk of illegal acts or use of articles labeled later on as misinformation showed on this channel are for educational and entertainment uses only. We are not responsible for any misleading information used to commit any type of illegal act done by any of our viewers on this channel. So I want to show you guys a couple different articles here to show you that there are always two sides to any event on anything that happens in the world. You always have the one side who's going to downplay the event, and they always have their reasons to. You have to keep in mind that when something dramatic's about to happen, the government, the officials, and the media are always going to try and calm you down because it does cause problems. It causes panic buying because we view prepping as it's a bad thing. But this is what happens. This is the result of people not preparing. You have a lot of people buying up tons and tons of a certain supply that is in shortage. It causes major issues that they recognize, but then they try to turn it against everyone at the same time. And here they're trying to tell everybody it's okay, that things will return to normal. As you can see, there's a gas station that's out of fuel. There's tons of pictures on this article here, so you can go check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description below. This is basically updated by the hour. It's pretty much live right now, so you can see all the different things going on. And as you can see here, it says Business Secretary from Kwasi Kwarteng says the fuel industry's prediction that the petrol crisis could soon be over is crucially important. They know they need to keep that hope in people's heads that things are going to go back to normal, so they'll calm down because they're already under severe stress because something else has happened. But they try to point the whole thing on the panic buyers. The whole thing. They always do that. If we have learned anything in the last couple of years, that's what they do all the time. So be wary of that. Even here it says it is encouraging development and it could help ease the panic buying. If people are confident that the situation is improving, they're less likely to buy fuel before they need it. That could reverse the vicious circle created by the initial queues when shortages encouraged motorists to top off before things deteriorated even further. They're just trying to calm everybody down, and everybody should kind of calm down. If you didn't get your fuel, it's not even worth it to go out there. I've seen people get in fights. I've seen people get stranded. It's not worth it, guys. You just might as well stay home until things really do start to get back to normal, and then you can go out and get what you need. But you should have got it before. This can be a good warning for the rest of the world, too, and my fellow Americans, that you need to be getting stocked up. We've already seen a similar event happen here in the U.S. with the cyber attack on that major gas pipeline on the East Coast. So definitely get stocked up before it is noticeable and becomes an issue. Here you can see we got some more pictures here of the lines. That's a very long line on that one. And in here, they're trying to tell you that stockpiling fuel is dangerous and not publicly spirited, but there are signs that some people may have been heeding these warnings. And of course they are. Some people really need fuel, and some people have medical equipment and things like that. They got to run on generators, and they're just worried that they're not going to have the fuel to power their generator, and they're going out at the last minute to get what they need. Now, I'm not sure how long this fuel supply thing has been going on, but after about 8 to 12 months, fuel will go bad. Always keep that in mind. You always got to cycle your fuel if you do this. And no, I do not recommend anybody put anything in any unregulated can that's not made for gas. If it's not made for it, it is acidic and it will eat through it and it will get everywhere and it will very likely explode from the smallest spark or static. You can buy tanks that farmers use in rural areas. I've seen massive ones that are about 30 to 50 gallons, but they're quite pricey. You can also buy them for the back of your truck bed. Now, I personally have bought one of those 30-gallon gas tanks off of Amazon, and it really wasn't that great. The pump needed to be replaced within the first year. All the parts to it just started deteriorating, and so be careful about what containers you buy. For the most part, you should be okay for running generators and things like that for a power outage by just getting yourself 4 to 6 5-gallon gas cans. But they're noticing this in here, and I'll show you that. As it says down here, they recorded 17-fold rise in the number of jerry cans sold over the weekend compared with the same period a week earlier. The containers used by motorists to stockpile fuel was the fourth most common search term in retailers' websites. So they know, and they're paying attention on how many people are buying these things, and I'm sure they even have a track record of who all has what. So they know how much fuel everybody is holding at their houses, and if this gets really bad, they're going to know you got it. That's why, once again, like I said, it's important to get this stuff now, so you're not going out there into the panic, into the crowds, getting what you need, but not only are you going into the panic of the crowds, but you're some of the main people they're paying attention to right now. If you got yourself a big old stockpile of something, and you did it while everybody was panicking, they're watching that. They see that. They see that you have all that stuff now. So be wary of that, guys. Now, this is where it's getting a little bit more serious, and this article wasn't really trying to sugarcoat things as much. There wasn't as many people in there trying to sugarcoat things. But this article says Boris Johnson is preparing to call in the army as panic buying drains UK petrol pumps. And there you can see a very long line at a BP gas station. And this was posted 11 hours ago on FT.com. It says Boris Johnson is preparing to draft in hundreds of soldiers to tackle the UK's fuel crisis, as at least half of the petrol stations outside the motorway network have run out of fuel after Britain's engaged in panic buying. See, they're mainly blaming it on the panic buying. It says the Prime Minister will meet senior ministers and officials on Monday to examine the latest data following the disruption of fuel supplies caused by a scarcity of tanker drivers. So they're blaming it on panic buying, but then they go and throw that in there. They've been having this problem for a long time. You know, it's a good thing they're putting them both in there. I will say that. But the way it's just worded up here, that they just ran out of fuel because of them engaging in panic buying. I just don't like the way they're connecting these words. It's pointing the finger really bad. And that just makes people attack each other in the mix of all this. It makes it worse. You got the crowd of people out there in the stores getting what they need at the gas pumps, and then they're all mad at each other because the news is saying this is caused by you, and I really need gas, so I'm going to just take that from you, and then it just turns into a brawl. It says Johnson will consider using the Army to drive tankers around the country under contingency planning known as Operation Escalin. Just goes to show, guys, they're going to have full control over things. Don't tell a lot of people if you have a huge stockpile of something, of anything. But here we do have what they do plan on doing here. It says the government announced on Sunday evening that it would temporarily exempt the energy industry, including producers, suppliers, haulers, and retailers, from the 1998 Competition Act, allowing companies to share information and prioritize deliveries to areas of greatest need. But then you got this right here. It says officials are receiving updates up to 4 times a day, but there was some hope in government that the panic buying had calmed by Saturday. Those with knowledge of the situation said that the best case scenario was that disruption would clear within 5 days. There is a crisis in data. We are trying to get a better picture on when the panic will pass. I don't know if it's necessarily just going to be always the panic, though. I think, like, they're trying to twist it up because we really are having supply shortages, and we all are going to have to get used to now living small. You know, buying small, eating small, everything. We have to consume the least amount that we can. That's what they want. And this is going to condition us to be okay with that, essentially, is what my opinion is. That's the way I see it. This is all to condition us to be compliant with constant shortages. And then that's going to rule out other things in the future. You know, the carbon tax and all that kind of stuff is going to start happening, in my opinion. Guys, take this for however you want. Make your own opinion. And my suggestion to you would be to obviously put back some fuel and maybe get some heat as well to make sure that fuel stays good longer. Make sure you use a proper container. Like I said, you can use the 5-gallon regular containers. You can also use a flex spout on those. You can drill a hole in the back, put a little vent on it. I'll leave links down below to all the things that I use for my containers and where I buy them. It's good to get prepared for stuff like this, and especially if you need the fuel. I'm sure they will negotiate with you about having fuel to run the medical equipment, and they will be mindful enough and leave that fuel with you if they were to come around and collect fuel. And another thing I want to point out that they had inside these articles was price gouging. We've seen that happen in the past as well. So always use apps like Gas Buddy to figure out what the cheapest station is near you. It's not 100% accurate, but it's better than nothing. So you can try and make sure you're getting the best deal in your area. But alright guys, with that being said, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.